Ladies and gentlemen, the XRP Ripple lawsuit is officially over. And this feels really weird to say because it's been 4 long and extremely hard years, but we finally made it. So in this video, let's discuss a little bit about what happened, a little bit about what happens next, but most importantly right now about what we think is happening to the price. So first of all, the price went up roughly 30% within minutes. To be a bit more exact, it took about 34 minutes to go up 28%, and the highest it went up is roughly 29% from the moment that this lawsuit conclusion was announced. If you're wondering what the final conclusion was, well, everybody's posted about it. We started the live stream though the moment that it happened, which did really well, but here it goes. The SEC asked for $2 billion and the court reduced their demand by 94%, recognizing that they had overplayed their hand. We respect the court's decision to have clarity to continue growing our company. This is a victory for Ripple, the industry, and the rule of law. The SEC's headwinds against the whole of the XRP community are gone. That's from 𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀😂 the CEO of Ripple. Then we also have the chief legal officer over at Ripple, whom stated this: a final judgment, because again, it is officially over. There's no more questions, no jokes. Yesterday, we didn't have all the puzzle pieces yet to make this official, but now we do. And by the way, if you've not pressed that like button yet, there's absolutely nothing I don't know what to tell you, because this is one of the craziest days. But I just woke up. We did a stream for a crazy amount of time last night, all right? If you've not done it yet, you gotta press that like button right now, because again, this is celebratory. Cheers to every single one of you. Well, let's continue on with this read. So, a final judgment. The court rejects the SEC's suggestion that Ripple acted recklessly, and she reminds the SEC that this case did not involve any allegations of fraud or intentional wrongdoing, and no one suffered any financial harm. She rejects the SEC's absurd demand for $2 billion in fines and penalties. We respect the $125 million fine, though, the court has imposed for certain historic sales to sophisticated third parties. And so, honest truth, that is it. That is it to the lawsuit. Ripple is not allowed to sell in the way they used to do, but honestly, that selling was kind of nothing because it's all US based. And second of all, we've read many lawyer opinions throughout the night that state there's many ways around it. So whatever they are not allowed to do won't affect anything at all. The Ripple has to pay a massive fine, $125 million, but to you and I, $125 million might not be the best of years, all right? $125 million is kind of a lot of money to fork over for an individual. But for a multi-billion-dollar company like Ripple that has tens of billions of dollars in XRP, as an example, right? Just to put something out there, that paid a couple $100 million in lawyer fees for this case, $125 million is a slap on the wrist. It's a bad day. So if you want to know a little bit more about what happened prior in the lawsuit, the whole allegation started against Ripple, against 𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 and Chris Larsen, and was subdivided in multiple pieces. And there have basically been 3 main conclusions in the lawsuit. Conclusion number 1 was that XRP was not a security. There were 3 bases on which the SEC tried to fight Ripple for the most part, 2 of which Ripple won, 1 of which the SEC won, which is what they right now have to pay a fine for. That is basically Ripple going into contracts with institutions to sell them XRP. And because it was a direct contract, the institution might have had the expectation of profit, and so they had to pay a fine for that. The reason this is not bad is because ODL, which is Ripple's solution that uses XRP for quick transfers, well, you can't really have an expectation of profit if you're only selling or holding it for like a second as the intermediary currency, right? So, point number 2 is when the law, so that was the biggest thing. That was July 13th, 2023, which is when we had a pretty good pump on the XRP price as well. We've got it right here. The price went up roughly 94 or 99% in 4 hours. So it was pretty good. And then second of all, somewhere in the midst, I think it might be around the same time, we had the lawsuit dismissal against 𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 and Chris Larsen. This is where the individuals were not accused of fraud or anything too bad, really, because the SEC didn't have enough information or willpower, whatever, to go fully against the 2 as individuals. Because again, the burden of proof to go against individuals instead of the company is really, really high, and the SEC couldn't do that. And so overall, this was a long period of time because the lawsuit started December 22nd, 2020, and this was somewhere in 2023. Overall, the SEC had to dim down their complaints and allegations from, oh, you're fraudsters, this, that. Not directly they said fraudsters, but hey, that's kind of what they had to prove in this sense. To just, well, maybe, doesn't really matter what they alleged. The point is, they had to dim it down by such a big percentage, and as you can see right now, their complaint was for 1.3 billion. Their fine that they wanted was 2 billion. They ended at 125 mil. But let's get into what we think is going to happen to the price. And let's quickly conclude about some people have been asking about an appeal. Price-wise, back then, the price shot up roughly 100% within hours. This time, the price shot up roughly 30% within, 20 minutes or something. There's a big difference, though, in market sentiment. Back here, the market really wasn't that bullish. And so XRP slowly but surely trickled right back down as the rest of the market also bled. I really remember it quite carefully. And you can see the price was hovering, however, at these higher prices of et cetera. But there's a bigger key factor here that many people don't realize. As I'm scrolling through the days prior to XRP's victory here back in 2023, one thing that becomes apparent is that it was at roughly 50 cents for a while, right? At least from July 1st here. Yes, it hovered between 45 and 50 maybe, but it's basically been within that range until all of a sudden a crazy spike happened. If we look through the XRP chart for this year, though, we can see that August 6th, etc. We might have not seen too crazy. But if we keep scrolling a little bit, you'll notice that just a few days prior, we were at 66 cents, right? And that's a key differentiating factor between what happened right there and what actually is happening right now. The price for XRP was really stable all the way back here, and really quite negative the last couple of days here. So if, and this is just my own thoughts, if XRP had this pump while we were already at the 60 cent area, we went up 30% like we did just now, 30% would have placed us at what? Let's quickly check it out, 80 cents again. Perhaps, though, the moment you get to 80 cents, because that's, again, price discovery, or at least for a long time, maybe we would have seen more of a catapult like we saw back in 2023. Whereas right now, the price had to push the same percentage, less in terms of market cap, but again, similar percentage. But over a week here, or over 3 days, is up 52%. And it had to basically fight against all the pressure we had from the last couple of days. And at the same time, Bitcoin was not doing too well when this came along and was actually hovering at 55K. After one of the worst crashes, with again fear of recessions, etc., etc. Even though the period of the market is way better right now, I will admit that this specific day, this specific week, was one of the worst weeks they could have chosen. So what's going to happen next? In our opinion, as long as Bitcoin doesn't go for a crazy crash, the most likely way to go for XRP here is upwards, and upwards pretty quickly. Again, it just makes sense that since nothing is really standing in the Ripple XRP way anymore, that we are going to be moving and sliding towards the upside. That's, again, my personal expectation, and I stand by that quite closely. I mean, I don't really see any way in which it doesn't do well here. Right now, I just put it into the different chart. I think if I zoom out, you'll see a little bit better. But right now, we are waiting for some sort of breakout move to happen, and I think all we're looking for is for us to breach these previous highs. We might start a live stream, though, if it does, so you might want to stick around the channel. And by the way, for all the people that had the notification bell on, once more, a little cheers to you, because you most likely also were with me on the trade. You made some crazy money on that, which is why I'm going to say again, if you do not have your notification bell on, you might miss out on something so important. Yes, I post one or maybe sometimes a few videos a day, but you can always skip the notification. You can always look at it and think, I don't want to look at this today. But let's say the title is Emergency XRP Stream, whatever. You better bet your ass that it's very, very well worth watching, right? Because the title is going to be relative to the importance. So maybe you see a title of, hey, XRP lawsuit update. Those things some people want to see straight away so they can be informed to the best of their ability when it comes to their trades. Anyway, so right now, I will probably start streaming again if the price does something crazy, either towards the downside or upside. Many in the stream have asked me, hey, do you think it's worth selling right now to buy back cheap? Always, that's the best thing you can do, but it's risky, right? So right now, we are converging, meaning the prices are basically going sideways. And so if you want to, you can actually try to sell this top and try to buy this bottom. That's what a lot of people try to do. The reason I'm a little bit against it is because I think this announcement was so massive. Ripple IPO should be coming next. Crazy announcements from Ripple should be coming pretty soon. This was one of the most bullish things that could have happened. if I'm selling here now, I'm selling into the news that was not really able to be bought into because we didn't know the date that this was going to happen. I think on such a bullish announcement, it's not wise to sell that quickly because I do believe that most people this has to kind of sink in for. But from any possible perspective, the XRP price looks so much better than it did a few days ago, right? And I'm going to put something in perspective here. This is where we were at back in April. This is where we were at when? Like a few days ago. We were at 64 cents or so, right? A lot of times throughout time. Right now at 64 cents, at least the lawsuit is freaking finished. Why sell now when I didn't actually sell at these prices before? The argument to be made against it, though, is because the price went down. Let me show you here real quick. Even 41% one time from this price level. And so right now we are facing the most difficult resistance for XRP that's out there. So from that perspective, if you want to sell, try your luck and try to buy back cheap. Hey, all right, if Bitcoin breaks down, you might very well be right. But I think it's risky. Just following the idea that XP is in such a good spot right now. Anyway, there's more. I've had many people ask me about an appeal. Can the SEC appeal this? Is this result definitive? From what I've gathered, the result is not per definition definitive and the SEC can appeal. But there are many reasons as to why Ripple nor the SEC might not want to appeal this. For Ripple's side, this is a slap on the wrist. Why argue with somebody that's really out for blood? Why not argue if they just want a little taste, right? When they want a little taste, but they actually want to get your whole freaking system, why not just be fine with that, right? That's one. On the contrary, from the SEC side, they already have fought a pretty ferocious battle. They were able to get 125 million, where in theory, for many people watching this, there's an argument to be made that they deserve nothing if they go and appeal. There will be most likely so many more documents that will be brought out that could negatively impact the SEC, because right now they didn't even look into it, that they might literally be just shooting themselves in the foot. Because again, why wake up sleeping dogs? If you've won and you're able to spin this story into a $125 million victory, what are you going to go for? The big $2 billion win? No, because you're never going to get it, because the judge made it quite clear there's really no way to get higher. Maybe double, right? Okay. But at the risk of losing everything, and maybe even getting a bigger slap on the wrist yourself and being not respected instead of respected, I don't know. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I am not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor, none of these things. So from that perspective, we may very well be wrong with all this. This is just legal opinions that we've read throughout the last few hours here. We've been checking through. We've checked through about what lawyers think about the ODL situation. Again, the fact that Ripple can still just use XRP in the way of their business as they would have wanted. Even though they might have to be careful about how they do it, there's always nice ways about it. Here you can see another question, because again, an appeal is very much possible. It's just might not be as negative as you think. Mickey D asked, another question, Jeremy, the SEC will have a couple months to appeal by Sunday, October 6th. Which, knowing them, they will, because again, the SEC has appealed many things in the past. With the Ripple case, though, not that much, actually. Yon, what are they likely to appeal against, and do they stand much of a chance on getting anything from appealing? Could it go to the Second Circuit? And to this, I will say, logically, there are different things they can appeal, but I don't think they will matter in the grand scheme of things, because the lawsuit now is officially over, though. I just wanted to make that clear. Things could change. Jeremy says they have the right to appeal, and if they do, the focus will be on the programmatic sales for sure. Let's quickly see here. Did they say anything else about it? No, just some more questions. Would their appeal only focus on Ripple sales? Would they try to make the argument that XP trades are investment contracts? No. Again, this doesn't make sense from any perspective to argue that XRP sales, like for example to an exchange or from peer-to-peer, from Ripple to people over exchanges, would be security contracts, because it doesn't make sense. We went over this before. The judge is not going to buy that. The only thing they can do is argue over the amount, and this is again what I'm really quite confident on. They could argue over the amount of wrongdoing, knowledgeable wrongdoing that Ripple as an institution did selling these contracts, and thus for that reason, what type of fine they might get. They can't really claim that people got hurt in terms of price. Since people didn't lose money, that's the key factor. Since people didn't lose money, it's very, very hard to go against a company for doing all these things wrong. Because initially, they might have just had the wrong paperwork for doing something illegal, sure, but if nobody lost money, now, matter of fact, they made a ton of money, then who's angry? And that's a key factor. Who are you doing this for? I'm protecting the market participants, but who exactly is that when it's a contract between a company and another company? That company who bought something that Ripple shouldn't actually have been allowed to sell. So they were buying something of false pretenses, but they made a 20x. They made a crazy sum of money on that. Who exactly was hurt? Anyway, I want to do a little quick shout out to all the lawyers, Jeremy Hogan, John Deaton, and there's actually many, Meta Lawman. There's so many in the XP community that have been amazing. And many of them I got to interview over time. Many of them have had some better nights of sleep when all these little documents were too difficult to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally over after all these freaking years. And now, what I say is, sit back and enjoy this show, as I believe that this is going to be the craziest year for XRP in terms of gains. I believe that what we've seen right now is peanuts to where it's going to head over the next few months and years. XRP is always a little bit of a weird one. It's a late bloomer. It has been. And it's been one that's had much hatred towards it. Yep, it has been. Shout out to 𝗷𝗓𝗓𝗏 as well. Shout out to so many. Bill Morgan, shout out to him as well. All these people have been covering a lot of this Ripple stuff for years, and I appreciate many of them. Anyway, boys, I want to quickly say thank you all as well, really, for sticking with me throughout all these years, because I think a lot of us has become like a little bit of a XRP family, a crypto family or so. Because I've been covering these videos for so many years on the channel, but XRP has been a pretty big part of it. And so it's really nice to see that this finally concluded. We have one more thing to go, though. And this is a crucial factor. Even though the lawsuit has finished, and I'm extremely happy it did, because it's been 4 long years, we still have one more mission. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, for the XRP price to reach its all-time high. And that is not everything. No, we have a second goal, which is for 3 times the all-time high. I want to see a $10 or $12 XRP before I am satisfied with anything. Yes, it was nice that the Ripple case is over. Yes, it was nice that a year ago, XRP was deemed not a security, but it doesn't mean much when the price does nothing. Right now, that is what we're waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. We're waiting for $3 of an XRP. Getting back to the all-time high is a start. And I think that this lawsuit conclusion should make things easier. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a very good night. If something crazy happens, I will be right here streaming it. If something crazy happens to Bitcoin, I might also start streaming it. If you have any questions, put them down below in the comments section. And make sure you press that freaking like button. More importantly, have notification bell for something crazy drops. And if you want to learn to trade, by the way, follow my second channel, maybe about trades. But more importantly, check out the link down below to Bybit, which is the exchange I personally use for trading. And that's about it.